So in 1998, there was this unnamed physicist who allegedly proved that your consciousness doesn't just, observe the world. It literally commands it into existence.
Right, yeah. Which is a huge claim.
Massive.
Mm.
And according to the manuscript we are looking at today, well, the response to this discovery was just swift and absolute. The findings were completely buried.
Oh, yeah. The scientist was blacklisted from literally every academic conference, and intelligence agencies just quietly classified the data.
Which, that sets an incredibly intense tone before you even get to the first chapter.
It really does. You are immediately thrust into this world of suppressed scientific history and, highly classified human potential.
It's the ultimate hook, honestly, and it perfectly matches the really provocative visual cover of the manuscript we're doing a deep dive on today.
Yeah, that cover art is wild.
Right. The book is called The Frequency of God, How to Command Reality by Mastering Your Inner Signal by Dr. Michael G. Bomar. And the cover, it doesn't show like a peaceful meditator or a serene landscape.
No, not at all.
It's this striking image of a glowing human figure just crackling with energy, literally rising out of the shattered pieces of the earth and ascending into the cosmos.
It definitely categorizes the experience for you right away. That cover does not promise a safe, comforting read. It basically promises a fundamental disruption of how you view your place in the universe.
Which brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We are unpacking the core premise of this book, looking at excerpts, the cover art, and even the author's official disclaimer. We really want to understand what this text is actually claiming about human capability.
Right.
But, okay, let's unpack this for a second because I have to push back right out of the gate. If this book is just about, having a more positive mindset or changing our internal static, why on earth would intelligence agencies care?
Yeah, that's the natural question.
It sounds like the setup to a sci-fi thriller, not a self-help manual.
Well, it's a completely valid reaction, and honestly, the author actually anticipates that exact skepticism.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. The text argues that this isn't framed as a simple mindset shift or a psychological trick to make you feel better about a bad situation. Dr. Bomar presents this as a precise, repeatable technology of consciousness.
A technology of consciousness. Okay.
Right. The central thesis is that this power isn't reserved for spies or elite scientists in million-dollar laboratories. It is hardwired into your biology. But, to grasp the sheer scale of that claim, the book demands that we first completely dismantle our conventional understanding of physical reality.
Which means we have to talk about physics.
We do.
Because before we can learn how to change the reflection in the mirror, we really have to understand how the universe acts as a mirror in the first place. So Dr. Bomar takes us back to the bedrock of quantum mechanics, the famous double-slit experiment.
Right, the classic.
Yeah, for anyone who needs a quick refresher, this is the foundational experiment showing that particles like electrons or photons, they don't behave like tiny solid billiard balls.
No, they don't.
When they aren't being watched, they behave like waves of probability. They pass through two slits at once and create this messy interference pattern on the wall behind them.
But the bizarre part is what happens next. The second a scientist sets up a detector to observe which slit the particle actually travels through, that wave function just collapses.
It's instantly.
Instantly. The particle stops acting like a hazy cloud of possibility and acts like a solid piece of matter, choosing a single, definite path. And, this observation is what led Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg to formulate the Copenhagen interpretation.
And the Copenhagen interpretation basically says that at the subatomic level, the physical world isn't solid or fixed at all, right?
Exactly.
Particles exist in a state of superposition. They are in multiple states, multiple locations, all at the exact same time until they are measured or observed.
Which carries a frankly terrifying implication for the scientific establishment of the early 20th century.
I can imagine.
It suggests that consciousness is not just a passive camera recording a pre-existing world. Consciousness is the trigger. The act of observation is what forces the universe to make a decision and collapse the wave function into physical reality.
I always try to visualize this because human brains just aren't built to intuitively grasp quantum mechanics.
No, definitely not.
It reminds me of a video game rendering engine.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Like in massive open-world games, the digital trees, the mountains, the characters behind you, they don't actually exist in the console's physical memory until your character turns around to look at them.
Right, to save processing power.
Exactly. The world only loads when you observe it.
That is a phenomenal way to conceptualize the Copenhagen interpretation for a modern audience. The environment just remains in a state of unrendered code until the player's camera demands a physical form.
But see, here is where my brain starts to hurt
Yeah.
and where I really have to question the leap the book makes.
Okay, lay it on me.
It is one thing to say a microscopic electron in a sterile laboratory environment acts like unrendered code. But Dr. Bomar is claiming that me just looking at my coffee cup right now is actively creating it.
Right?
How does he bridge the gap between subatomic particles and the macroscopic world we actually live in?
So the author asserts that the suppressed 1998 experiment proved this collapse mechanism doesn't stop at the laboratory door.
Okay.
Dr. Bomar's argument is that everything is fundamentally made of those same quantum particles. Therefore, every moment of every day, your mind is selecting which macroscopic reality manifests from an infinite field of probabilities.
Wow.
Yeah. According to the text, you are not living in a fixed reality. You are constantly actively choosing which reality becomes real.
Which is just a staggeringly heavy responsibility to put on a person. I mean, if that is true, it means the reason people fail to get what they want isn't bad luck, it's them.
And the book actually addresses this directly.
Yeah, it states that 99.7% of people fail to manifest their desires. If we all have this reality-rendering engine built into our consciousness, why isn't everyone walking around as a billionaire with perfect health?
Well, the book transitions beautifully here from the physics of the universe to the biology of the human body. To explain that 99.7% failure rate, Dr. Bomar introduces a concept he calls the static phenomenon.
The static phenomenon.
Right. The text argues that the problem isn't a lack of power, it's a profound lack of clarity.
Okay, I imagine this is the idea that most people are walking around sending out thousands of deeply contradictory signals every single second, right?
Exactly.
Like they consciously want a promotion, but subconsciously they are terrified of the extra responsibility. Or they want a loving relationship, but they harbor a deep fear of abandonment.
Yeah, think about the radio transmission analogy. If you try to broadcast 3 different songs on the exact same frequency at the exact same time, you don't hear a beautiful mashup.
No, you hear unbearable static.
Exactly. The quantum field, acting as the receiving antenna, gets these overlapping, contradictory frequencies, cannot decipher a clear command, and therefore delivers nothing coherent back to you. Reality basically ignores you because you are incomprehensible.
It's like trying to order at a fast food drive-thru while 5 people in the back seat of your car are screaming out completely different menu items at the exact same time.
That's a perfect way to put it.
The person taking the order is just hearing chaotic noise. They can't hand you your food because they literally don't know what you want.
The drive-through analogy captures the frustration perfectly. But Dr. Bomar takes it a step further into actual physiology.
How so?
It is not just about what you are whispering in your head. It is about the literal electromagnetic field your physical body is generating. And the book anchors this claim in a landmark 2003 study from Princeton's engineering lab.
Oh, this is the part of the source material that absolutely blew my mind. What exactly did the Princeton researchers find?
So they set up random number generators machines designed to spit out purely random sequences of zeros and ones based on quantum decay.
Okay.
They then measured the electromagnetic output from human hearts nearby. And what they discovered was that when a person entered a highly coherent, organized emotional state, it created a measurable disturbance in those random number generators up to 3 miles away.
Wait, really? 3 miles away?
Yes, 3 miles.
Yeah.
The machine stopped being random and started showing patterns.
Just from a human being sitting in a room feeling a specific emotion.
Yeah.
That is insane.
It is. The text emphasizes a crucial biological fact here. The human heart's electromagnetic field is roughly 100 times stronger than the brain's electrically, and up to 5,000 times more powerful magnetically.
5,000 times.
Yeah. Your brain might formulate the thought, but your heart provides the broadcast power. Emotions, not thoughts, are the actual commands that interface with the quantum field.
So if someone is standing in front of a mirror repeating, like, I am wealthy, I am successful, in their head, but their chest is tight with a deep physiological panic about their credit card bill.
The universe is entirely deaf to the affirmation.
Right. The panic is the loudest voice in the back seat. The panic is what has the 5,000 times magnetic multiplier.
Which is exactly why the author argues that merely thinking positive thoughts is a recipe for failure. To get the quantum field to respond, you need what Dr. Bomar calls heart coherence.
Heart coherence.
Yes. This is an organized, rhythmic pattern of positive emotion that turns that diffuse, chaotic biological static into a concentrated, high-powered laser.
And that biological laser leads us directly to the suppressed solution at the core of the manuscript, the 3-day amplification protocol, or dominant frequency projection.
That's the one.
If coherent emotion is the command signal, this protocol is the step-by-step method to silence the backseat shouting and start broadcasting. So let's dig into the mechanics of this protocol, starting with day 1, which the text calls singular focus.
And day 1 is arguably the most jarring for a beginner. You are instructed to choose one desire and absolutely only one.
Just one.
The text is completely uncompromising on this point. You cannot manifest health and wealth simultaneously. Multiple desires create immediate signal interference. You write this single desire down, make it highly specific, and for 24 hours, you direct every conscious thought, decision, and action toward that single frequency.
Okay, let me pause and ask a highly practical, deeply skeptical question on behalf of everyone listening.
Go for it.
If my singular focus is securing a massive career promotion, does that mean I literally cannot think about what I'm cooking for dinner or how to help my kid with their math homework? How is this level of singular focus survivable for an adult living in the modern world?
It's tough. The author dedicates an entire section to this exact friction, calling it the noise of modern life.
The noise of modern life.
Right. The text readily acknowledges that our current society is architected for maximum distraction: smartphones, 24-hour news cycles, endless notifications. Dr. Bomar's solution is the creation of a temporary sanctuary.
A temporary sanctuary. Meaning you lock yourself in a dark room for 3 days.
Not quite. It means for those 72 hours, you severely audit your exposure to external noise. You still feed your children and do your job, but you refuse to let your mind attach to unrelated worries, idle gossip, or doom scrolling.
Okay, so it's a mental filter.
Yes. You treat your attention as a fiercely guarded resource. The book argues that this initial discipline is so difficult that it acts as a filter, which is precisely why the majority of people fail on day 1.
They just can't unplug from the static long enough to form a thought of their own.
Exactly.
But assuming you do survive day 1 without your brain wandering off to 1,000 different browser tabs, you arrive at day 2, emotional saturation. This seems to be where we tap into that heart coherence from the Princeton study.
Day 2 is where you actually build the laser. It is about feeling your specific desire at maximum biological intensity.
Okay.
You don't just think about the promotion. You generate the physiological emotions of certainty, gratitude, and power. You are instructed to hold this intense emotional state for 10 full minutes, 3 separate times throughout the day.
I noticed the text makes a massive distinction here regarding the types of emotions you're allowed to feel.
It really does.
It explicitly warns against feeling hope or excitement. On the surface, those sound like incredibly positive emotions. Why are hope and excitement considered toxic to the signal?
Well, it's because of what those emotions imply to the quantum field. Hope inherently carries the seed of doubt. When you feel hope, you are broadcasting the message, I wish this would happen, but it hasn't yet, and it might not.
Oh, I see. It places the reality permanently in the future.
Precisely. And excitement can be similarly frantic and rooted in surprise.
I can't believe this is actually happening to me.
Exactly. Whereas certainty, deep gratitude, and grounded power are frequencies of a reality that already exists. You have to generate the emotion as if the desire has already materialized in the physical world.
That makes a lot of sense.
That specific frequency of already done is what generates the coherent electromagnetic output necessary to collapse the wave function in your favor.
That is fascinating. So day 1 clears the static. Day 2 builds the laser by adding emotional weight. Which brings us to the breaking point.
The hardest part.
Yeah, according to the author, day 3 is where most practitioners completely self-destruct. Day 3 is titled Zero Contradiction.
For a full 24 hours, you must maintain absolute internal and external discipline. 0 doubt, 0 complaints, and 0 fear-based talk.
Wow.
If your singular focus is manifesting financial abundance, you cannot complain about the traffic on your commute. You cannot sigh heavily while paying for expensive groceries.
0 complaints for 24 hours. In this economy, that sounds borderline impossible for a normal human being.
The text offers absolutely no leniency here. Every single contradictory thought or complaint acts as an inverse wave, canceling a portion of your carefully built signal.
So you ruin the whole thing.
Pretty much. If you catch yourself slipping into a complaint, you have to course correct instantly. But as demanding as day 3 is, Dr. Bomar introduces a fascinating, unexpected element that is supposedly required to actually master the protocol and survive this phase.
Right. The secret of sincerity. The book points out that mechanical practice like just forcefully going through the motions of the protocol like a robot will never generate enough magnetic power.
No, it won't.
Authentic sincerity is required. And the ultimate physical proof of this sincerity, according to the text, is tears.
Now, I have to push back hard on this.
I knew you would.
In almost every culture, crying is viewed as a sign of breaking down or surrendering to failure. How does weeping equate to commanding the universe?
The paradox of tears is perhaps the most profound concept in the entire manuscript. Dr. Bomar does not view tears as a weakness, but as the ultimate involuntary surrender of the ego's control. Involuntary, right?
Exactly. You can fake a smile, you can fake a positive affirmation, but you cannot fake the deep parasympathetic nervous system release of sincere tears.
The book mentions that tears amplify the signal by clearing suppressed emotional blockages. It's almost like the physical act of crying washes away the last remnants of the internal static.
Yeah, allowing the heart's electromagnetic coherence to broadcast at 100% capacity. The quantum field instantly recognizes that profound authenticity.
But the author draws a very sharp line here regarding the source of those tears, right?
A very sharp line, yes. There is a universe of difference between sincerity and desperation.
Oh, this is such an important point to clarify. The text explains that sincerity is fundamentally love-based. It is the deep realization of this desire completely aligns with who I truly am.
Right.
Desperation, on the other hand, is fear-based. It screams, I am broken and incomplete without this thing.
And if you are crying out of sheer desperation, you are broadcasting a massive heart-coherent signal of lack. And the quantum mirror will just flawlessly reflect more lack right back into your life.
That distinction is everything.
It really is. Sincerity is in alignment with your deeper truth. When you hit that state on day 3, the tears are not tears of despair. They are tears of profound relief or overwhelming gratitude for a reality you know is already yours. That is the moment your frequency becomes truly monolithic.
Okay, let's play this out. Let's say you, the listener, actually pull this off.
Okay.
You survive the 72 hours. You focus your intent, you saturate your emotions with certainty, you don't complain about a single frustrating email, and you shed the tears of pure, authentic sincerity. Your biological frequency is now a monolithic laser. What actually happens in the real world next?
So the text outlines a very specific timeline for the physical manifestation. The first week is critical.
The first one.
Yeah. During days 1 through 3, immediately following the protocol, the author says you should expect subtle synchronicities. You might receive a random helpful phone call or bump into someone who happens to have the exact information you need.
Okay, minor stuff.
Right. But days 4 through 7 are when the reality shift supposedly explodes.
Exploding synchronicities. Massive solutions appearing out of thin air. Unexpected checks showing up in the mail. The physical world basically rearranging its furniture to match your new broadcast frequency.
Yes. But reality has friction, and maintaining this new arrangement requires effort.
It's not just a one-and-done deal.
Definitely not. Dr. Bomar outlines a strict maintenance phase. Because remember, if you want to tackle different desires, say you fixed your finances and now you want to focus on your physical health, you have to apply the protocol sequentially, never concurrently.
Right, because trying to do both at once brings back the signal interference.
Exactly. Beyond the initial 3 days, you have to maintain what the author calls the symphony of self. This is the ongoing practice of internal, external, and temporal consistency.
It really reminds me of tuning a complex musical instrument, you know?
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Like, you don't just tune a grand piano once in its lifetime and expect it to play perfectly for the next decade. You have to do weekly and monthly tune-ups. If you don't maintain that harmony, eventually it's going to sound like a dying cat. The environment, the weather, the temperature, everything naturally pulls the strings out of tune over time.
That is precisely the framework the book uses for human consciousness. The maintenance phase includes morning alignment, where you consciously set your intention before the world can distract you.
Okay, setting the tone for the day.
Right. It involves evening gratitude, to lock in the frequency of abundance before sleep. And crucially, it requires repeating the full 3-day protocol once a month. Achieving what Dr. Bomar calls the master frequency turns this from a temporary party trick into a permanent lifestyle.
Now, it is extremely important to mention here, as the source material explicitly states in its official disclaimer, which we found alongside the striking cover art for the book available at bomarbooks.com, this material is for educational purposes only.
Always good to remember.
Yeah, the author makes no guarantees regarding the results and emphasizes that wielding this protocol requires immense personal accountability.
It's a highly necessary disclaimer, especially given the explosive nature of the claims. But the text argues that if you do accept that heavy accountability and you successfully maintain this master frequency, you create a ripple effect.
A ripple effect.
Yeah, you don't just upgrade your own life. Your coherent frequency creates a localized field of order that others can unconsciously align with, uplifting the world immediately around you.
You essentially become a lighthouse in a world drowning in static. I love that imagery.
It's powerful.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've journeyed from the mind-bending physics of the quantum mirror to the literal biological broadcast power of the human heart.
We really covered some ground.
We have. We've explored the author's claim that 99.7% of people are stuck broadcasting chaotic radio static, remaining completely invisible to the universe.
And we've unpacked the highly suppressed 3-day protocol designed to forge that static into a reality-altering laser.
The grueling discipline of singular focus.
The physiological demand of emotional saturation.
The absolute purity of zero contradiction, and the vital secret mechanism of sincere tears. The manuscript leaves the choice entirely in your hands. You can remain a passive observer, letting the overlapping noise of modern life, doubt, and fear dictate your circumstances.
Oh.
Or you can choose to step up, do the work, and become the architect of your own existence. You can choose to command reality by mastering your inner signal.
It is a profound, almost intimidating responsibility. And looking at all this material leaves me with one final, unexplored philosophical question.
I'm all ears.
If the 1998 experiment proved that human consciousness collapses physical reality, and if a collective group of thousands of people were to master this protocol simultaneously but with fiercely contradictory desires, what would happen?
Oh, wow.
Right. Would their powerful monolithic frequencies simply cancel each other out in the quantum field? Or would they create a massive, visible quantum interference pattern in our global reality?
A global quantum interference pattern. That is a thought to keep you up at night. Are major world events just the physical result of our clashing amplified frequencies fighting for dominance?
It really makes you wonder.
It makes you look at that cover art one more time, you know? That glowing human figure rising from the shattered floating pieces of the earth. Maybe that shattering isn't destruction at all. Maybe it's just the old reality breaking apart to make way for the new one you just commanded. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the sources. Keep questioning, keep tuning your frequency, and we will catch you next time.